Hello, my paper peeps. Today I want to share with you how I scrapbook my memories. Now, scrapbooking to me has always been a way for me to capture and cherish life's special moments. Over the years, I've been able to develop a way that allows me not only to preserve those memories, but it also allows me to express my creativity. And today I want to share you just a glimpse of what that looks like. And I'll actually show you how to create a scrapbook in just 7 days. So let's get to the craft room. Now today I'm going to share with you a few of my scrapbooks and journals, but more specifically one that I did in just 7 days and the process that it took for me to do that all in just 1 week. So let's get started. Day 1, gather all your materials. The first thing you'll need is a scrapbook album. Now, you can use one that's already been made, or if you want to challenge yourself, you can make a DIY scrapbook journal. And in this example, I used paper bags to create this DIY scrapbook journal. Now, all of you have special photographs that you want to put in your scrapbooks and journals. So choose the ones that speak to you during that time, and then put those aside. Number 3, you'll need decorative paper. I love using all types of paper, but more specifically, DIY printables. And you can get those pretty much anywhere online on Etsy, or even this one. This is the Land and Sea printable that I used. I love it because it fits perfectly with what I like to do, because I like to not only scrapbook, but I love to journal. And I also like to place little trinkets and little things in my scrapbook journals to commemorate and remind me of what was going on during that time. The next thing to do is to collect all your embellishments, whether it's stickers, washi tape, metal embellishments. If it's a travel journal, I really love to collect things on my travels. And because we're in Hawaii, I'll tell you this now, there are no scrapbook journals in Waikiki. We didn't have a car, so I was quite limited to just the ABC stores that were on the strip and some knick-knack stores that were out there. So I really had to think outside the box and pull things from all those stores, or even like the beach, that I could actually put in my scrapbooks. Adhesives. Now you can use photo-safe adhesives, or you can just use any roller tape glue. I like using a combination of types of glue, whether it's photo-safe glue sticks, double-sided tape to secure the photos. I also have Ultrabond on my craft table for those instances where I need to adhere metal or plastic embellishments. That glue is a must-have because it actually dries clear. And you always need your cutting tools, whether it's scissors, paper trimmers, punches, anything that will help you create the desired look that you need. Pens and markers. I am a sucker for pens and markers. I can't have enough on my table. But one thing I've gravitated towards are calligraphy pens, and I don't know why. There's this, it slows me down. For some reason, like I'm not rushing through my journaling because it's a very intricate way to journal. And so it just allows me to kind of step back from the busyness of the day and really just relax and journal all my thoughts. Day number 2, planning your layout. Now, before diving into the creative process, you kind of have to know what you want to do and really just craft each page so that there is a unity and a cohesiveness throughout your album. I'll decide on a theme for my scrapbook, such as a vacation, a wedding, a time of year, maybe a season. This journal here is specifically for Christmas and all the Christmas cards and the Christmas parties that you might have. And this journal here is actually a 5-year journal that I've created just for that purpose. And this one is an autumn journal, which really reflects the season that I'm in, whether it's, starting, the kids are off to school again, so we're starting a new book study. So there's a lot of stuff going on in September that really, for me, warrants having a new journal for that time. And then there's balance. What I love to do is look at each page and say, okay, what do I want from this page? Is it specifically an art page? And if it is, I'll usually use center embellishing to really focus on that focal point. Or if there's journaling, then I usually use what I call corner embellishing. And I'll place any embellishments and artwork on the bottom right corner of the page, leaving all that room on the page for journaling. Day number 3, the album assembly. Now, this may not apply to you if you're using an album that's already been pre-made for you, where it has all the pages in it and you just place the photos on there. But if you are like me, who likes to challenge yourself with DIY scrapbook journals, then this is the day where you actually craft the journal itself. And in this case, I used paper bags to make this DIY journal for my trip to Hawaii. Or you can think outside the box and maybe do postcards. I actually have a summer season where I crafted all the pictures, all the photos, all the events in the summer on postcards and then placed them in a cute little recipe box. This is honestly a great way to showcase your photos and any journaling, because then you can actually place the card right on, like if there's Bible verses or inspirational quotes that you like, then placing them on the cards alongside photos of any of those events are perfect. And you just place them right where you'd normally place your recipe card for the day, and that becomes a beautiful place to showcase any photos or any inspirational quotes. Day number 4, mixed media art pages. Now, if you're a seasoned crafter or a scrapbooker, there'll come a time in your journey where, just slapping photos on pages is not enough. You feel like you need to get your fingers inky. And so you go beyond just slapping pages on a paper and you start using mixed media like inks, pastes, glitter, all these fun things that make the page come to life. And so what I will typically do is do art pages in between all of my photo pages, because it actually gives your eyes a break from just looking at photos all day. And so that is something that I started incorporating over the last few years. In this case here, I used center embellishing to just make an art page. And you can see it's not that intricate. If you don't draw or paint, adding snippet strips or even stickers can be a beautiful art page in itself. And in this album, here you'll see I have these beautiful art pages, again using center embellishing to showcase some photos, even just the photos themselves. And if you're more advanced in your journey, oh my gosh, you know what? Here on this page, I used so many different mixed media techniques to create this art page. And that in itself satisfied my creative expression. And the good thing with these type of albums that I create is I create outside of the book and then add it. So here I actually used envelopes as my art pages, and then I actually used the cards that go in the envelopes. I cut them up and I created outside of the envelope here. Did my mixed media. If it didn't work, then I'd redo it. But if it looked great, then I could actually add it to my journal. So there's a good tip if you're like me and I make a ton of mistakes. I'd like to create my artwork outside and then add it to the journal. Now, if you're new to the world of scrapbooking, this might not appeal to you because it can be quite overwhelming. If you're just one that wants to place your photos down with a little bit of embellishments and some text and tags, that's okay. But if you find that you really want to dive into this whole mixed media, this is a great way to flex your creative muscle. So in essence, what art pages do is it adds an extra level of interest. So when people are actually looking at your scrapbooks and journals, it's not just photos. Suddenly it's like all these peaks and valleys of different levels that really breaks the monotony of just photos. So I find this type of scrapbooking really stimulates the senses. Day number 5, this is where you start crafting the pages. Once the planning is complete and you've put together the album, it's time to bring the scrapbook to life. And here's how I craft each page. I always start with a background. I start with solid or patterned paper as the background, and sometimes I'll often layer papers to add depth and interest. But because this album is specifically limited in size, you can see I have to be careful with how much embellishing I do on, these photo pages or art pages, because there's paper bags there. So you know I'm going to be placing other paraphernalia for my trips, maybe quotes, maybe letters, things like that, that, you know, over that course of time I might have received from people, whatever it may be. This is not just a travel journal. This is pretty much a little bit of everything. And so I want to make sure that I leave space for those things. And so on this journal page, specifically these journal pages, I have to decide, you know, how much embellishing am I going to do? Because you don't want to add to that bulk, okay? You want to be able to close the book. Unlike this book here, I actually had to extend the binding system of it because I went overboard with how much information, all these things I want to add to it. So just be mindful of that. In this case, I thought I'd keep it simple to flex my creative muscle on journal pages and satisfy that creativity. What I did instead of adding lots of paper, layers of paper, I'm just using stencils here. And stencils and stamping is a perfect way to add creativity without bulk. And here I'll actually add rub-ons, which again are very thin and don't really add to the bulk of the book. Now, when it comes to photos, you can do several different things. I like to print photos off of my computer, or I'll use an Instax camera. If I'm actually traveling and want to scrapbook on my travels, I'll actually use an Instax camera that prints out the photos there right for you. But in this case, you know what? I just use my computer to print out all of my favorite photos from the trip. And then you can use different ways to frame it. You can use a stamp if you want, like a stamp frame, which again doesn't use up any space. Or you can use what I've really come to love are acetate photo frames. These again are thin, they're beautiful. But in this case, I think I'm going to use frame dies to cut out the frames and then just place the photo directly underneath it. In the Land and Sea paper line, I actually have photo frames. And this is perfect for just adding photos to it and then using that and just slipping them into any sleeves, or like here I have some pockets that I want to slip those into. So yeah, like don't be afraid to use different types of frames. Just make sure if you are going to use different types of frames that use it consistently throughout the book. And then there's journaling. Add captions or short anecdotes to describe the photos. This personal touch helps to convey the story behind each memory. Day 6, embellishing the cover. Now, you don't have to go through great lengths to create these amazing book covers. Some of the book covers I have are very simple. They just have the title of the journal. Maybe they'll have a photo on there that's framed. Maybe they'll have a little art page on the front that's framed. Here in my Land and Sea journal, I went a little overboard. I've just recently got into this whole idea of polymer clay creations, and so I did over embellish the cover. But that's, you know, that you don't have to do that, but there's that option there. And then sometimes I like placing binding systems on there as well. So placing ribbon or bulldog clips so that you can preserve your memories and keep them from damage. And aside from creating these book covers or embellishing the book covers, what I might do is embellish the sides of the book and add little trinkets and those kind of things. I haven't done it to this book yet, but I know it's coming. That's probably one of the last things I'll do. But yeah, you don't have to go through great lengths to create a cover, but if you feel the need to, by all means, go ahead and do that. Day 7, preserving your scrapbooks. This is what I do to ensure the longevity of my projects, and here are some of the things I do. Number 1, I will put them in a tickle trunk, most of them anyways, just because I don't want sticky fingers all over them, i.e. from my kids. And so I'll place them sometimes not only just by themselves in the tickle trunk, my acrylic tickle trunk. I'll actually place them in maybe purses or little bags that that I found on my travels that I thought, ooh, you know, that would look good with this journal. Or sometimes the bags themselves actually become my jumping point for my creativity. So keep a lookout for things like that, or even boxes, you know, little mini boxes to place your treasures in and your memories in are great ways to preserve your memories. I really hope you enjoyed my process. It's been a fun time over the last few years of really crafting my memories, and you don't have to do it this way. I did start off with 12 by 12 albums and then realized, you know, as time went on, like I wanted to do more, and so that's why I gravitated towards more DIY scrapbooks and journals. And if you're interested in maybe flexing that creative muscle and doing more, then you might want to watch some of these videos here, or maybe some of these videos here. Maybe they'll spark some of that creativity and interest. So take care, have a fantastic week, and I hope to see you in those other videos. Bye.